throw my jacket.
You don't want to sit next to him?
Okay.
Well, you would get closer to him.
So, should we go ahead and get started? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. In the aftermath of the Police Merit Board decision regarding the officers involved in the Aaron Bailey shooting, we have spent the past week listening to constituents in our districts. My fellow counselors from both sides of the aisle stand together to acknowledge that many members of our community feel mistrusted, misunderstood, and devalued by those they see as being on the other side. We also hear a plea in our districts and our community at large that we find a way forward. We hear calls for the council to engage in a way that perhaps it hasn't before, to address the mutual barriers to trust. Our residents' trust in our police department and our officers' trust in our residents. And to do it in a way that is actionable, measurable, and brings together people from all sides of these issues. We know that members of IMPD and members of the broader community care deeply about these issues and want to improve relations. That doing so benefits us all. We want to work through these challenging times in a way that allows Indianapolis to set an example for other cities and towns struggling with the same challenge. We understand that, like it or not, Indianapolis is now part of a national conversation about tensions between law enforcement and communities of color. This is bigger than just us. It is a complex set of issues without a simple solution. But we believe in this city and know that we are up to the task. Members of our council stand together today to pledge to work to find that path forward that our residents are seeking. We understand that we'll need to break some new ground to find it, and that we won't be doing it alone. Our first step in uncovering the path forward is a commitment to listen. Within the next 10 days, we will announce the first of several community meetings on police and community relations to be held throughout our city and our county. We plan the first to be held at Kennedy King Park on May the 31st. Our priority in these conversations will be to listen, while those most affected by these divisions in our community, that's rank and file police officers, that's crime victims, and others, tell us their stories. We hope to be joined by other leaders in the community who are willing to listen to the many voices on all sides of this issue. Our next step will be to examine how these issues have played out in other cities and towns across the country, to determine our best practices and benchmarks from communities that have wrestled with the same challenges and come away better for it. Our constituents are the catalyst for this process. From this dialogue, we will pursue those actionable steps with measurable outcomes. Not top-down solutions, but solutions which come as a result of collaboration and the voices we heard. We want the people of Indianapolis to know that they are a priority, and their trust and overall quality of life are our top concerns. Thank you. Questions? No, I think you'll have to ask him on that.
You guys were planning this. Did you reach out to the police department or the mayor's office to see if anybody from either of those agencies wanted to be here?
We've reached out to our police friends. We reached out to the mayor's office to let them know that the council was going to be taking action on behalf of its constituents, that its members, the members or the constituents of the members of the council. So many folks across the board have become alerted to this. In fact, I live next door to two police officers who I spent the evening with yesterday and on Saturday and on Sunday talking about these issues.
Do you agree with the mayor that the mayor board needs to be refigured or reconstituted?
I'm sure that there are ways that we can work on that that merit board, on that process of the merit board, the timing of it. Sorry.
There are legal issues.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
In what way?
We can look at two things right now. We can look at staggering the terms, which I think makes sense since most of our other boards and commissions are staggered. And I think we can also look at more community representation on that.
Do you think either of those factors would have led to a different outcome last week?
I don't think this is about what would have led to the outcome last week. I think these are issues that have long been discussed, and this just acted, I think, in many ways, and brought it to the forefront about discussing them and acted as a catalyst.
That, though, is sort of the precipitating the conversation that you guys are having here, the community are having right now. The outcome disappointed a lot of people. Do you see any changes that could be made structurally, the merit board or otherwise, that might eventually allow for what could be a different outcome to a situation such as last week's process?
So let's look at it like this. I don't know that it's the structure of the merit board that would have made the difference, to be frank with you. I think there's a lot of focus on the merit board itself, but if we look at the changes that we've talked about making, that we likely will be making, in a short amount of time, I don't think that they would have had the impact or made a difference in the outcome. But it is on people's lips, and because it is, we need to look at it. Now, there are bigger issues and bigger ways that we need to address the issues that we talked about just now, and that has to do with trust. And the merit board is outside of that, to be frank with you. I think we have far deeper, far more compelling, and far more detailed and complex issues that have got to be addressed. There is not one little silver bullet that is going to make a difference. Now, many I think will believe that and do believe that, but if they look backwards through proposed alterations over time, I don't think that the outcome of last week would have altered. I will tell you that the only way that we're going to address issues of trust right now in our community is to hear where those issues are in the minds and the hearts of those most affected. And be that members of our community, members of our law enforcement, we don't have the answers. I think we need to be smart and learn to listen and not think that we have all the answers. And that's what our job is anyway as representatives of the people. Oh, of course, it's been an ongoing discussion. It's what I talked about just now. It is having an opportunity for leaders in the room to be silent and to have members of our community and rank and file members. I'm not talking about leadership. I'm talking about rank and file members of law enforcement. Where do we have a breakdown in trust? And then what can we then? Yeah. Exactly. And so the folks at any higher level need to be silent. And let's hear from them on what they think will make a difference. And that is our job, as I said again, as representatives, to represent the voices of the people. And when we try and throw solutions onto things, I don't know that we ever have any measurable change. And that's the role, I think, of our council. It is to listen and then to work on behalf of what the folks have said. This counts. This is what we need to see happen. This is what we want to see happen. Yeah.
IMD hasn't had a fatal police action shooting since the Air Base shooting, which was almost exactly a year ago now. I know in the FOP here says they're going to push back and say, we were already on the right track, we're making the right changes. Are there specific things that you're going to look at and talk to them about that they think that they need to hear from the community that they don't understand?
So it's not, once again, it's not me or counselors telling anyone, whether members of the community or members of law enforcement, what they need to be doing. That's what I've been saying since standing here. It is making sure that we are silent and listen to what rank and file members of law enforcement and what members of our community say to us. This would make a difference. Our entire goal is to be able to look back in 4 or 5 years and see a measurable change in the amount of trust, or at least the ability to build some trust in this community. And as I said, this is part of a national conversation. And now we're part of that. What lessons can we learn from others? And how can we also lead the way? If we're silent on it, or act like it doesn't happen, or try and impose something, I don't think it's, I don't know. It doesn't seem sustainable.
You're talking about a lot of most people take buy-in from IHD and from rank file members to listen and maybe even change their minds, but I don't see anything here, learning.
Oh, so here's the thing. This is not about that. This is about the council members.
The department I talked to didn't have any idea this was happening. Do you feel like you appropriately reached out to them prior to this?
No, I appropriately reached out to my council members.
Right.
This is a council press conference.
Right.
That is the purpose of this.
Right.
And to say that we, as a council, believe strongly enough that we need to hear from members of our community and rank and file members of law enforcement. So it is not about trying to get those folks into a room before we hear from the folks who really need to be in the room and the ones talking. So this is council.
You're emphasizing listening, which will require a lot of patience. What do you say to people who feel like they don't have any patience left?
I don't have anything to say other than the ground rules will be, if you're going to be in a room, you're going to listen. Simple. Anything else? All right. Thank you for coming.